welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Nigerian governors promise to confront country security challenges by interfacing with security agencies as they visit troubled Plateau State. President Muhammadu Buhari visits storm-ravaged Katsina State as he condoles victims of last week's windstorm in the state. Trial of former Director General of Securities and Exchange Commission Munir Gwazo resumes as witness tells court that purchase of car is in order. And EU leaders plan establishment of secure centres for migrants in EU states to process asylum claims on the deal reached at the summit in Brussels. Well, channelstv.com has more information for you, and on youtube.com/channelsweb, you can watch our videos. You can also watch us on your mobile device via your browser or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app has an eyewitness feature that you can use to share pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app and tap and swipe to reveal the menu and then follow the instructions. Let's take a look at some legal matters. A prosecution witness in the ongoing trial of the suspended Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mr. Munir Gwazo, has told the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory that the car grant collected by the DG was in compliance with a board resolution. Mr. Gwazo, alongside the Executive Commissioner, Corporate Services and the Commission, Zakwanu Garuba, were arraigned before Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission on 5 counts bordering on fraud. The ICPC is accusing Gwazo of committing fraud to the tune of about 115 million naira in June 2015 when he held office as the SEC DG.
The prosecution informed my lord that they have 6 witnesses, and when we started yesterday, informed the court that they had 3 witnesses available. We took one of the witnesses yesterday. We were supposed to take the other 2 today, but for one reason or the other, the prosecutor said it's only one witness that is available, who happened to be a current staff of SEC. He tendered some documents and we cross-examined him. The merits of what we have done is in the realm of the discretion of the court. It's our own to show that the defendants have done no wrong. We are doing that to the best of our ability professionally, but the final decision in that regard is with the court.
In other legal matters, a federal high court sitting in Abuja has dismissed a suit challenging the election of the governor of Kebbi State, Senator Atiku Bagudu. Justice Muhammad, who presided over the case, dismissed the suit for lacking in merit. In his ruling, the trial judge held that the plaintiff did not prove beyond reasonable doubt that the governor was not qualified to run for office and that he lied under oath. The candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2015 governorship election, Bello Sarkin-Yaki, had approached the federal court to disqualify Governor Bagudu. In his originating summons, General Sarkin-Yaki alleged that the governor was not qualified to contest because he did not possess the requisite academic qualification. He also claimed that the Kebbi State governor made a false declaration on the form he submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission.
All the documents that they've bandied around and made all kinds of allegations against His Excellency were tendered in court. Gentlemen, you were in court, you heard what the court said about those documents. Those documents cannot be relied upon, those documents cannot be acted upon, and of course the court finally held that all the allegations that they've been making and that they made in this particular case have not been proved, and that is the basis upon which the case was dismissed.
I do not agree on the issues of law raised by the learned trial judge. This is the court of first instance. We still have the Court of Appeal, we still have the Supreme Court. So we will consult and take the necessary steps. We'll consult with our clients and take the necessary steps.
Away from legal matters, the Enugu State Police Command has arrested 2 members of the Indigenous People of Biafra suspected to have been involved in the attack on the home of the President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo, Nyanwodo, on April the 29th. The suspects allegedly launched the attack on the building using explosives, which damaged some parts of it, but no life was lost. The Enugu State Police Commissioner Dan Mohammed told Channels Television that the suspects were picked up at different locations in Lagos and Enugu. He says that they had been sending messages to the Igbo leader threatening to make his tenure ungovernable.
These gangs, they have been terrorizing Enugu and it is Embaron. One of the cases we succeeded is those suspects who attacked the resident of President General of Ohaneze, Dr. Nwodo, on 29 April 2018, where they destroyed explosive device, improvised explosive device at his residence. Through intelligence lead police, 2 of the suspects were arrested because after the incident, they have been sending text messages to telephone, threatening his life, telling him that this is just the beginning. And through the course of our investigation, we discovered that there are members of proscribed Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB. I'm using this opportunity to warn criminals that they should keep away from Enugu State. Any act of criminality will not be tolerated.
Let's cross over to Abuja now. Here's Makwe Ogun Yusuf. Makwe?
Hello, Ijeoma. A coalition of environmental rights groups is canvassing the urgent need for the federal government to strengthen the nation's renewable energy policies with active parliament in order to achieve Goal 7 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which targets energy for all by the year 2030. According to the group, the Nigerian government is yet to demonstrate that it is ready to reduce carbon emissions by 65% by the year 2030. Meanwhile, the Deputy Director, Senate Committee on Ecology and Climate Change has decried the slow pace of implementation of some government policies that target reduction of emissions, alleging that multinational companies have undue influence on the government.
For some time now, there have been discussions on the urgent need to fast-track transition from fossil fuel to renewable and clean energy, and also to cut down carbon emissions into the atmosphere. These discussions are a follow-up to the global response to climate change, which led to the 2015 Paris Agreement, to which Nigeria is also a party. That agreement has resulted in several government policies targeted at reducing carbon emissions. This again is the crux of discussions as environmental activists, as well as some lawmakers, hold this conference in Abuja, canvassing the urgent need for new laws to fast-track transition to clean energy.
One fundamental challenge facing Nigeria is oil dependency. The Nigerian government needs to urgently put in place a renewable energy policy framework backed by an act of parliament that recognizes the state and non-state actors, their roles and responsibilities in renewable energy development.
Although the Nigerian government has formulated laws and policies that are inclined to regulate carbon emissions, gas flaring continues in the Niger Delta region, and the effect of global warming is noticeable. Some federal lawmakers decry the undue influence by multinational companies, just as they pledge to push for new legislation.
The oil companies appear to be bigger than the government. Because if you put any law, what they do is to sit down, find a way to circumvent it. And even if you go to court, they also have a way to exploit the loopholes. So it is to find a way of blocking the loopholes in our laws, and for government to have the audacity to stand firm and punish them.
We will have several bills which are very, very relevant to what we are discussing today. I will now look for them. I know where to get them, and we will together in the National Assembly push them to their logical ends.
The campaign for renewable energy tends to address the effects of climate change as well as challenge developing countries on the urgent need to achieve Goal 7 of the Sustainable Development Goals SDG, which targets energy for all by the year 2030.
The Minister of Education, Mr. Adamo, has commended the intervention of the Osun State Governor, Rauf Aregbesola, in the state education sector. He says the state's policies are in tandem with that of the federal government and aid school enrollment. The intervention is part of the state education reforms, which includes rehabilitation of public school infrastructure.
The Osun State government has continued to take the bull by the horn when it comes to revamping its education sector. The public school sector, which seemed to be failing, has now become a point of reference in the enrollment strength of the state due to various government interventions. One of the public schools to experience such a turnaround is Ayedade Government High School in the Ikire area of the state. As the state governor makes his entry, excited students wave flags in anticipation of a new beginning. Traditional rulers, politicians, and the people of Ikire community are also present to witness the formal reopening. The Minister of Education applauds the state government's efforts towards building a solid education foundation. Education is a huge priority for the governor, who believes that children, irrespective of their background, deserve good education.
1,000 per term.
The state government says it may not have the funding to replace all run-down school buildings, but it's maximizing resources through its reclassification policy.
When the news at 10 returns, Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, that's NERSEL, restates commitments to federal government's Anchor Borrowers program. That's on Business News. Do join us again.